If you're visiting Arches National Park, then you have to hike to Delicate Arch. It's the most famous arch in Arches, and it is incredible to be able to stand at the base of this arch. So today I want to share with you 6 tips for hiking the Delicate Arch Trail in Arches National Park. My name is Ash. I'm a former park ranger and the founder of Dirt in My Shoes. And here at Dirt in My Shoes, we love hiking. I really truly believe it's the best way to see the national parks. And so I'm really excited to share some tips with you for hiking the famous Delicate Arch Trail in Arches National Park. You've probably seen this arch in pictures or whenever you're looking up different things you can see in Utah. It's very, very popular. It's even on the Utah license plate. And so it's just one of those places that you really do need to see in person. I'm a Utah native, and so you'll find me in Arches National Park usually at least once a year. I have hiked to Delicate Arch so many times, it never ceases to take my breath away. That's what's crazy about it. You can go to this arch over and over and still just feel that awe as you're standing at the base of it and just realizing how large this arch actually is. A lot of people don't realize that the light opening between this arch is 46 feet high and 32 feet wide, making it the tallest freestanding arch in Arches National Park. To get here, you need to hike 3 miles round trip with 480 feet of elevation. And I'm not going to go through the actual trail with you today, but if you're hoping to see pictures and get a write-up of what to expect on this trail as you hike, go to dirtinmyshoes.com. I will link this post into the video description below so that you can see what to expect as you hike this trail. What I do want to do today, and what a lot of other people don't do, is give you tips for hiking this trail. Because this landscape is very foreign to a lot of people, you will encounter some things on this trail that you might not expect. And so I want to walk you through these tips for hiking to Delicate Arch. Tip number 1, I think, is the most surprising thing about this hike, is that you actually can't get drinking water at the trailhead. So this throws a lot of people off. Arches is so hot during the summer, it can be really dangerous. And you do need to be drinking a lot of water as you're hiking in Arches National Park, specifically on this Delicate Arch Trail. And so it is pretty surprising that you cannot get drinking water at the trailhead. All that you will find here are pit toilets. There's no running water of any kind. So any water that you need for the hike, you will need to get at the visitor center on your way in. You'll need to fill up your bottles, and you'll want to make sure you have at least 2 to 3 liters per person for this trail. So looking at the map of Arches National Park, you'll come in down here. You've got the town of Moab right here. You'll enter the park right here. The visitor center is right as you enter. And so you will want to make sure you stop here to get the drinking water before you drive all the way up to the Delicate Arch Trail, which is up here. It starts at Wolf Ranch, which can be a little bit misleading as well, but you're going to park here at Wolf Ranch and then you will hike to Delicate Arch from there. But as you can see on here, it does tell you that there are toilets. These are pit toilets, not flush toilets, and there is no drinking water here. If you've already been in the park for a minute and you have already passed the visitor center a long time ago, the other water that you can get in this park is up at the Devil's Garden Trailhead at the very end of the park road. So that might be closer depending on what you've been doing already that day. But just make sure you have enough water on this trail. The last time I took some people up to Delicate Arch, they did not pack enough water. My backpack was full of water and everybody was having to drink the extra water that I brought because they just totally underestimated how hot this trail can get and how much water you need. Tip number 2, wear shoes with good traction. When you're hiking out here in the desert and you're hiking on something called slick rock, which is that red sandstone that just doesn't have a lot of vegetation on it, you're climbing up this sandstone a lot when you're hiking in Arches National Park. And it can get slippery because it's sandstone and there's a lot of sand on the surface of it that makes it just a little bit harder to get your footing and get traction. So when you're hiking to Delicate Arch, you will want shoes that have really good traction so that they can grip that sandstone that you'll be hiking on really well. Tip number 3, do not hike this trail in the middle of the day, especially during the summer. It gets so hot in this national park during the summer. You're looking at temperatures above 100 degrees most days. And the other problem is the sun beats down on these red rocks and just reflects it right back up onto you. So not only are you getting the really hot temperatures in the air, but the rocks themselves are just making it really hot as you hike. So make sure that you are not on this trail during the middle of the day. You're going to want to avoid the hours of about 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in most cases. If you can get to Delicate Arch before, in the early morning or later in the evening when things start to cool down, that's much safer and it's much more enjoyable as you make your way up to the arch. The other thing about this that a lot of people don't realize is that there's very little shade on this trail. So you begin the trail at Wolf Ranch where you can see a cool homestead and there's some petroglyphs. And then the whole middle section of the Delicate Arch Trail is on a giant slab of slick rock that you're just making your way up. It's very unforgiving. It gets really hot. There is no shade on this slick rock, or very, very little shade. And you're going up in elevation. This is the main elevation gain on this trail as well. And so again, that's why you're not going to want to be on this trail in the middle of the day, because the hardest part of the trail and the longest part of the trail also is the sunniest part of the trail. As a side note on this, people love visiting Delicate Arch at sunrise or sunset. Sunset is definitely busier. The lighting is a little bit better for the sunset than it is for sunrise, but you do get a lot more crowds for sunset. So I actually really love being there at sunrise. It's a quiet experience. You get a lot more solitude. It's still absolutely beautiful. But those 2 times of day are very popular, not only for the lighting, but also because it's actually cool enough to hike this trail safely. Tip number 4, the Delicate Arch Trail can be pretty confusing. I know a lot of people who have gotten lost on this trail. And what happens is you go up that giant slick rock section, and when you're hiking in the desert, a lot of times it's not possible to actually dig out a trail. And so you are just hiking on rock. And then you'll see these what are called cairns. They're stacks of rocks that will mark your path just because they can't dig the trail into the rock. So do not destroy these. Do not build your own. These are used for route finding in the desert. They are very important when you're hiking. And so look for these cairns. Recently, the park has actually put in more permanent signs along this trail. They've kind of cemented them into the slick rock to tell you when the trail leaves the slick rock section and heads back into the traditional trail, into the trees a little bit more, and takes you on to Delicate Arch. So a lot of people do get confused on this trail, and a lot of people do get lost. I think the main place where people usually get lost is that they do miss that sign that points them off the giant slick rock slab back onto a more traditional trail. If you miss that sign, you keep going up the slick rock and you'll actually end up on the wrong side of Delicate Arch, where it's a lot more dangerous to climb around to the arch, and you end up on the wrong side of it. So make sure you're looking for these small signs or these cairns in some cases to make sure that you're getting to Delicate Arch the right way. A side note on this, I am a mom. I hike with my kids. I do not let them go very far ahead of me on this trail because of that reason. I don't want them to miss those signs. I don't want them to get lost while they're out here. And so I do make sure that I can always see my kids, that they're in my line of sight, so that I know if they are taking the right path. Tip number 5 for hiking the Delicate Arch Trail is that you probably will need an entrance reservation to even get to this trail. Arches has started doing timed entry, which just limits the number of people who can come into the park. makes it a little bit easier to get parking, makes it so the park isn't so overcrowded. This timed entry system actually works really well. As someone who has visited this park for years and years and years, I have been able to tell a huge difference in the level of crowds and the enjoyment on the trails since they started doing this timed entry system. But it is kind of a pain because you do have to get reservations to enter the park for the main season, for the busiest times of the year. So just make sure that if you want to visit Delicate Arch, if you want to go in and explore Arches National Park, check to make sure that you don't need an entrance reservation, because there is a good chance that you will, and it would be really sad if you didn't get that and then you were turned away at the park entrance. Tip number 6 is for my non-hikers, for people who cannot hike the 3 miles round trip, who don't want to go the 500 feet in elevation gain, who are not able to do that, or if you're just there when it's super, super hot and you just don't want to risk it. There are a few other ways to see Delicate Arch from afar. So looking at the map of Arches National Park, I just want to make sure that everybody gets to see this arch, whether or not you can hike. So when you come up to the area where Delicate Arch is, if you're hiking, like I said before, you'll park here at Wolf Ranch. If you're not hiking, then you can continue driving along this road to the lower and upper Delicate Arch viewpoints. So you can see these viewpoints right here. Delicate Arch is up here. You're not super close to it. You're not getting an awesome view of it, but you are able to still see it. So you park here. The lower Delicate Arch viewpoint is wheelchair accessible. You don't have to go very far to get to that one. If you want to get a little bit closer, then you can hike for a minute up to the upper viewpoint. These tips will ensure that you have a great time on the Delicate Arch Trail. Again, it's just so awe-inspiring and phenomenal to be standing right there. You can stand beneath it. You can just really soak in these gorgeous views underneath this huge natural arch. So it's absolutely worth it. Just make sure that you are safe, that you come prepared so that you can have an enjoyable experience on the Delicate Arch Trail. If you need any additional help planning your trip to Arches, I have more Arches videos here on the Dirt in My Shoes YouTube channel, so be sure to find those and subscribe. I will help walk you through the entire process of planning your trip. If you need even more help than that, go to dirtinmyshoes.com. You can get a fully planned out Arches itinerary where I will tell you exactly what I would do, when to be where, how to avoid all the crowds, how to get your entrance reservations. All of that is here in the Arches itinerary on Dirt in My Shoes. Have an incredible time hiking to Delicate Arch. I wish you happy trails.